Buenos dias, muchachos. I went and did it again. I spent more money on this never-ending rabbit hole of a hobby. I'm gonna do a little unboxing on the Askar FRA400 millimeter telescope. And let's just toss this bad boy. Whoop. This is what we're working with right here. This is the Askar FRA400 5.6 APO. I got this scope because I've got a gap from my William Optics Red Cat to my Explorer Scientific 8102, from 250 to, with the reducer on that Explorer Scientific 571. And 400 millimeters is a nice focal length for a lot of the popular targets like Orion, Pleiades, Rosette. So I'm done buying scopes. This is, I have my focal lengths covered pretty much now, so I'm not going to be buying another scope until I sell one, or if I sell one. So, but I've heard a lot of good things about these Askars, and Agena had a promotional sale going on where you could get credit if you made a purchase for their 20th anniversary. So went and spent some more money, bought this thing, and let's open it up. I'm gonna pop these tabs out right here. You're gonna have your checklist and instruction manual. And you have some foam that's gonna be taped. I've already cut this tape to speed up the process. This is a little adapter piece to attach your camera. It's included right here. And then the actual telescope wrapped in plastic. I think that's it. That's everything in the box. This right here. Let's get to setting this thing up. This box has some other goodies that I got to pretty much make this one a grab and go. I've done that with a couple of my scopes, and it's sped up my setup time tremendously. So there should be an included tool in this bag with the manual and the checklist. The checklist is going to go over, you know, they inspect everything before they send it out. And they check everything that, you know, it's been inspected, and they ship it out. And you have a manual. Let me see what this thing is called. Get the name right. I think that's some stickers and a certification, a warranty card, and what's this thing called? A conical adapter. That's what this is. A conical adapter. In the bag right here, gonna have a couple of little bags with some screws in them. This one says screw for the bottom of the focuser. I'm gonna set it over here, and these are, I'm not sure yet. We'll get to that. No clue. I'll read the manual and see what it says, but I'm gonna set this to the side. And here is the included Allen wrench. And what we'll do now is we'll take the cradle off and get this thing out of the plastic. There's a couple of little screws here on the cradle. I'm just going to take the supplied Allen wrench, and we're going to loosen those up. I'm going to see if this end fits. It's already kind of loose. They didn't tighten it because they know you have to take this plastic off. And that'll come off nice and easy. There's one. Here's the other. I should be able to just open this cradle up, and then we'll take the scope out, and we'll take this plastic off. There we go. Oh, this thing is nice. It's really nice. I watched a few videos on YouTube, and I knew that this dovetail bar was kind of short, and if I'm going to run my 2600 on here, it's kind of a heavy camera. I was going to get a Losmandy plate, but I was thinking I could maybe run this on the GTI, but I don't know, it's going to be pretty close to the max payload on that thing. So I ordered a 300mm Askar dovetail, and this is going to be about the length of the scope. Yeah, it really is. Wow, that's long. But I'm going to try this out, and if this one doesn't work, I have a one that's a little longer than this one on my 82, and I'll just swap these out. But I'm going to try this one. This handle is cool, but I don't know why. That would be one complaint, is, you know, the handle it's nice, but it's coming off. I've got a multi-connection plate 90 here that's going to sit right there in place of the handle, and that's where I'm going to mount my guide scope. And I'll probably put my air, my ASI air, in this little dovetail here on the back of the scope. And that way I can just connect everything, and it'll just be a nice grab and go. I also got another ZWO EAF electronic automatic focuser. When I first heard about these things, I was like, man, how lazy can you get? You know, that's just, you get a batting-off mask and focus. It's not that big of a deal. But once I started using this on my Nightcat, man, I love it. I want it on every scope. I'm thinking about putting one on my 102. I'll do that later. But for this to work, I'm going to have to take this focuser off here, the coarse side over here, and but I needed some spacers, so I bought the, is it Primalucci 30mm spacers, like little riser blocks, and I'm going to attach these hopefully to the bottom of this cradle, and then that's going to give me a little bit of clearance so I can install the focuser. And I guess that's everything I need. And so now I'm going to try to get all this stuff done. So follow along if you're considering one of these Askar scopes, and then let's see what we can do here. All right, first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take the scope out of the cradle. I'm going to sit it over here out of the way gently, and I'm going to have to find my multi-tool because the supplied Allen wrench is not going to fit this thing. This is probably 2mm, I'm guessing, or bigger. No, it's going to be bigger. Back with the right tools. Yes, 5mm, and that is tight, my friend. There we go. Now we're cooking with fire. Okay. Now, remember, these two bigger screws go with the dovetail. I'm just loading up on plastic and paper. So the Primalucci spacers come with some long bolts as well. I'm going to set these out on the side. These screws look like they're actually long enough to go all the way through. And so I may just do that. So what's cool about these is these are going to line up with this Askar. This may work. This may just be, I thought I was going to have to rig this up with 2 sets of screws, but that's actually going to work. I think that's going to work. And each spacer comes with two of these bolts. So that's what I'll do, is I'll just attach this like this, and then screw this into the bottom of the cradle, and that should give me some clearance for that focuser. Sweet. And by the way, these are the most expensive Legos I've ever bought. I mean, they're a decent price, but I mean, it's like Lego blocks or something. Who knew I'd still be playing with Legos in my 40s? All right, so now I want to figure out exactly where this dovetail bar is plenty long enough to where I can center this probably, and then if I'm using it on AM5, I don't even have to balance it. But I just I thought about mounting the ASI air on the dovetail bar, and I may do that if it's high enough. I don't think it's going to be quite high enough, but I'm going to try this out. And I think centered, okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 holes on each side of the center. I just want to check this one more time. Yeah, that looks like that's about even on the scope. So here's my starting point right here. It's just the first set right past center. The first 2 holes right past center. I'm gonna go with that. Did I say, what is this? This is a 5mm Allen wrench, and I'm gonna take the supplied screws, and that's awesome. You know, I didn't know. I figured it would come with screws, but I didn't know they would be long enough to reach. And this is my first set of the Prima-Luce riser blocks or spacers. And they have to go. Probably gonna have to go through the center hole. Yep, learning as we go. Gonna have to go through the center hole, and then just go straight up the center right here like that. So I'm just going to turn that up like that. Let's line it up like that. And then we'll just tighten that so it'll hold it in place. So there's one. And I'm going to slide this one in right here. I didn't tighten it too much. I'm going to loosen this one up just a little bit because I need to line it up. There we go. I'm just going to hand tighten it to make sure that. There we go. Looks pretty good. I thought that red would match the Askar, but it actually matches the cradle of the Askar, but the dovetail bar is a little bit brighter red. But you know, whatever, that's fine. So now I'm going to tighten these up. I'm going to make sure I get them. I've got these nice and squared up. Take a look here and tighten. Same there. And I'm not going to go crazy tight with it, just tight enough to where it's not going to come loose. And that's that. That should work. I like that. I like that. I'm going to go with this. There's that step done. There's the spacers added. And now step number 2 is going to remove this handle off the top here and replace it with the, make sure I don't lose these screws. This is the Askar multi-connection plate 90. It should fit right there. And once again, that's kind of off red too compared to the cradle rings. It's weird. This supplied, now it's going to be the same 5mm, pretty sure. Yep. And I'm going to have to use a small end because it's pretty tight. We're going to have all kind of spare pieces left over after this. Okay, that should be good. I've got so many loose screws here. I'm going to, okay, these are the same size that came with this, so I have backup screws. I've got another set of these You know what? Siren's going off. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna redo these spacers because I just realized something. All right, so I'm gonna pick up where I left off, installing this Askar multi-connector plate. So this is where I'm gonna put my dovetail, and I am using the screws that came out of the handle. So now these are the original parts here. I'm just going to set these to, I'll probably set these in this plastic, and I'll keep them in the box just in case. And I'll throw some extra screws in there if need be. I'll set those out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down. And what is cool about this cradle, if you wanted to attach stuff on the side, you can buy 3 of these and put one on the top and one on each side if you wanted to attach other things. But I just needed something for my guide scope. That, so far, has been the easiest part. Tighten this down good. And, okay. Now, I'm going to go back to this spacer. I should have used the other set of screws. Go through each hole on the side instead of centering it like I did. So I'm going to take these back out. Let me go ahead. I'm going to loosen this one. I'm just doing so swell. All right, this should line up. I say that. Boy, this is a pain in the ass. Nothing doing. These actually may not line up. They don't. They don't line up. Okay, now I know. I was going to use all 4 screws on here, and it looked like these would center up, but they actually don't. It's the cradle itself. Okay, so the Prima-Luce spacers and the Askar actually line up like that. You can see the screws are going through there. The problem is the holes on the cradle don't line up. No, they're offset just a tiny bit, it looks like. Let me just do this. Yeah, they're offset just, I mean, like a couple of millimeters or something. That's why it's not going to work. That's a bummer. I don't know why they made it like that. So the single screw through each one, how I had it earlier, I'm going to have to do it like that. Unless I wanted to offset it. Okay. Back to the drawing board, just going to attach it with 1 screw, and hopefully that's stable enough. All right, take number 8,000. So, how I originally had it, because the Prima-Luce and the Askar holes don't line up. I should have looked at that. I figured they were the same spacing, but they're not. So, we're just going to rock with the center hole and hope that works. That's it. That's the base setup. Got the risers on there, the new dovetail, the new finder plate, and let me go ahead and put the scope back in and see how this thing rides. Kind of sitting up high like that. So I'm just going to line this part right here flush. And that leaves room for the dew shield to go all the way back. Tighten these back down. And I'm going to go ahead and throw the second screw in. And I'm not going to go really tight because I don't want to really clamp down on this thing, but I want, I don't want it sliding. So I think that's pretty good. I'm going to weigh this thing once I get everything on here, and I was going to try to run this with the GTI, but with me raising this profile up with these blocks, it's probably not going to work, especially when I get a guide scope up here and everything else. I mean, it's actually heavier than I thought it was going to be. This is pretty heavy duty scope, so probably I may have to end up running this on the big mount. That is all the accessories that, and you know what I did? I tightened this thing down, and the focuser is out of whack. I'm running on about 4 hours of sleep, so I'm gonna loosen this up. And you can reach this, but I'm having to. You hear that scraping or that noise? I'm having to go against the rail here. So that loosened it up to where I can slide and make sure that the focuser is nice and even. Okay, and now I'm going to tighten it back down. All right. Okay, that's it. There's my accessories installed. Color, you know, the color is off on the cradle itself. It actually matches the Prima Luce. Does not match the dovetail, but you know, whatever. Maroon and red. I had heard that over time this dew shield can actually slide back, but so far that's nice and sturdy. It takes a good amount of force to actually push that thing back, and there goes the cap. Let's take a look at the lens here. Very nice. I would say right now I'm almost pushing probably 10 pounds, if not more, with this. And I've still got to install this thing, but that's building it. That's how I wanted to build this thing out. If you wanted to use an eyepiece with this thing, it actually has a 1 1/4 inch slot that's attached on here. This is the screw that's going to loosen that dust plug up. Yeah. So you could attach, if you wanted to run like a 1 1/4 inch camera or an eyepiece or something like that. It has that adapter, but I am going to be using it with the camera. So this part is going to be coming off and going with the rest of these pieces.
You better watch it. You better watch it.
This is the conical adapter that goes on the scope. Nothing's going right. So anyways, on this thing, I believe this is a M61 here. This is going to be an M54, which this could actually work with the new ZWO ASI 2600 Duo. That's not, you know, that was what was keeping me from, you know, wanting one of those. Is you need an M54, and most telescopes adapters and spacers and stuff are M48 or M42, but that's pretty cool. So that's a possibility for the future. I'm gonna put this one back on. This is just a standard. I guess this is an M48 or M42, whichever one. This is an M48 because this does fit. I just can't get it to fit. Can't get the thread on. So, see, everything's working right. After 10 minutes of trying to get this thing to seat on here, I got it. I didn't want to cross thread it and mess it up because it's plastic. So before, you know, if you get one of these, just make sure you don't cross thread it and mess it up. But that is a nice dust plug if you can get the damn thing on there. Okay. All right, moving on to the next thing. I guess I'm going to go ahead and attempt to put this focuser on here, and I'll see if I can get a better camera view. Just for clarification, that's an M68 to M54 to M48. So yeah, I said M61 earlier. I'm wondering why this didn't come with the cap. I watched a couple other videos and it looked like they had a matching cap that matched the cradle, but I didn't have one in my box. I'm going to check the box and make sure. But yeah, that is kind of odd. Anyways, now we're gonna install the ZWO EAF, and just gonna go ahead and open this up. And I've put one of these on my William Optics Red Cat / Night Cat, and I've also put one on my Celestron Edge HD. So you got a couple of Allen keys here. I'm gonna use these, and this is the bracket I'm going to attach it with. And we've got some screws and washers here. I'll just slide these out of the way. There's the focuser. And then we have this everything in the box. So I'll just take this and put this out of the way. Then we have 4 little couplers here, and we're going to pick which one fits the focuser after we take it off. So the hole on one side of these is going to be the same. So it's in the bottom of the package. In the bottom of the package, all the holes are the same, but if you flip it over, you've got different sizes here. What we're going to do is we're going to take this the coarse focusing knob off. I'm going to leave the fine side on with the red, and we're going to take this side off, the coarse side. So I'm actually going to take the scope out of the cradle again for this installation. So I'm going to just get this thing out of here so we can have better access to the bottom. The EAF is going to come with a couple of different Allen keys, and it's not this one. This one came with the actual scope itself. It's these two. It's this little small right here, and this one, I don't know the sizes, but I'm actually going to use the smallest one, and we're going to remove this screw right here on the coarse side, just the black knob. I'm not going to mess with the fine side. It's going to be on this side, and there should be a good pop when this thing comes loose. Sorry for the shaking. It's probably going to be a good shake right here, but I'm going to hold the scope. I'm in there tight, and there it is. That wasn't dramatic, as dramatic as everybody else's I've seen. Okay, that was easy. There is the coarse knob, and I am going to keep this with all my other parts. I'm going to throw all these spare scope parts in a bag and keep them in the box. You're going to have a little flat edge right here, and this is what you want to put your grub screw down on. This little flat little piece right here, and it doesn't go all the way, so you can't seat these things flush. So I'm going to just open this one that has the it looks like it's the same size hole on both sides. Let me just open this up and see if this fits. And this one does not fit. So I'm going to need one that's slightly bigger. So if you can see that, I'm going to try this one. That's kind of loose. This one looks too small. I think it's going to be this one right here. Goldilocks. is this shoe. So this one seemed like it was just a little bit too big right here. This one's just a tad smaller. And I'm gonna see if this fits here. And see if that grub screw's kind of tight. There's a grub screw on there. I'm gonna back it out just in case. Let's see if that works. I believe that's the one. That's nice and tight. And what I'm gonna do, instead of going all the way up, because I don't want that to have any friction anyways, so I would normally back out, but that little flat spot is just a few millimeters off, so I want to, the grub screw set back just a little, so I can probably go with like right there. So it'll be like a millimeter or so off of the housing. Make sure I have that grub screw even with that before I tighten it. And yep, that came loose, so that's not very tight. Let me try this again. There's one over here, and I'm gonna make sure that's flush as well. Okay, let's try this one more time. I'm gonna go right there in the center of that flat piece. I was trying to get close to that, but it's kind of an edge. Kind of looks like it angles up. So I'm just gonna try that right there, and you can see I left a little gap there. Just a little gap. And now let's see if I can tighten this one. There, that's tight. And let's try. I'm gonna use this so I can get some torque on it. And make sure that's nice and tight. And I should be able to move the focuser with it without it sliding. Yep. And let's just double check, make sure. There we go. Shouldn't go anywhere. All right, that part's done. Now, as far as the bracket installation, in the manual it says you can use 1, 3, or 5, and what that's going to be are these the 2 outside holes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can use the first hole, and then the center one, and then the last one. And I think we should just be able to use number 1 and number 3 right here to attach the focuser with the bracket. Now we're going to attach this bracket, and we're going to open up the supplied screws and washers. Ooh, it's like Christmas. So I'm going to use, like the diagram said, the first hole and the middle hole. And I'm going to just center it like that and just kind of get that flush with the coupler. But I'll leave it loose. And we're going to check and see. So it comes with 2 different size screws. I don't know if you can see this here, but I don't know the size. But it looks like the smaller one is going to work for this. And I'll just check it real quick. Yep, it's going to be the smaller 3 screws, but we're only going to use 2 of them. So I'm going to grab one of the washers and the small screw, and we'll just I'm going to stick that through and make sure I'm in that first hole. I'll seat that kind of loose. Grab another small screw and a washer. And we're going to put it in this middle hole right here. And I'm just hand tightening it so I can adjust it. I can, back it down a little bit and slide it. So I just got it hand tightened. Okay, bracket installed. So now we're going to take the EAF out of the package here. And these are the screw holes that will attach to the bracket. So I'm just going to roll the scope up here. And I'm going to have to push the bracket up to tighten this scrub screw down first. So I'm going to just push this out of the way. Just hand tighten that. And you'll see that flat part, just like the little bolt on the focuser. I'm going to probably have to loosen this grub screw right here just to make sure. I think there's another one over here. Loosen, loosen these a little bit. Okay. And I want those screw holes up here for the bracket to attach to. And that flat part needs to be lined up with that grub screw. And the same deal, you can't push it all the way down because you don't want it, you don't want that friction touching. So it'll be slightly off. Well, actually they give you enough space to where that will seat on there, but I'm not going to push it all the way in. I'm going to push it close, and I'm going to back it out just a touch, so there's no metal on metal rubbing when it's turning. Got a little bit of space, like maybe a millimeter, and I'm going to tighten that down. Tighten this side down, and I'm trying to hold it to where I'm not going to put a lot of flex on that coupler. Just making sure this is snug on the side here, and that one's tight. Sorry for the shaking. And just tighten this one down. Now I'm going to loosen these right here. Make sure that this coupler is not bent. And I'm gonna hand tighten. I'm gonna try to make sure this is straight. Let me loosen this up again. It's kind of tough with this bracket on here, on the finder shoe on the scope. I'm having to balance it. So I'm gonna hand tighten that right there. And then once I tighten these screws, that should be flush, and I'll adjust it accordingly. I'm not gonna lean it on the focuser there. Got two more small screws here, and I'm gonna get the washers, and I'm trying to do this with one hand. Oh, this is tough. Just like playing Operation. There we go. Now that's got a little bit of support, I'll turn this so you can get a better look at it. So we want to make sure that that's not bent, the little coupler. So I've got that nice and straight. I'm going to take this last small screw and the washer and try to do this one-handed. Oh, it's tough. It is tough. There we go. And same deal. I'll just turn this like this, and you'll see there. Got it hand tightened, and I just want to check this and make sure that it's straight, and it does look straight. I've got just about 1 millimeter or so space right there, and I've got a little space right there, and then the bracket is supporting it, so it shouldn't have any weird flex or any kind of bend into it. It looks good to me, but I'll have to check it and make sure. But now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this thing down. That's going to be with this Allen key, the small one. So we'll just go ahead and tighten all these. Make sure it's just nice and snug. And just double check. Not going crazy with it, just, you know, just tight enough. That one just needed a little bit of tightening. So that's it. That's the focuser installation. And now I'm going to put this thing back on the cradle. One thing I wanted to add, as far as this screw for bottom of focuser, I'm pretty sure you don't use that with an EAF. So this will go with all my other parts in this bag over here. And so will these spare screws and stuff. I'll just set these over here. Looking at this thing, and you know, I didn't take into consideration that it would actually come out so far. I may not even need these spacers, but I am going to just try it and see anyways. So let me make sure that the focuser is nice and even, and I'm going to tighten it back down on the cradle. So that's pretty much it. I got it back in the cradle. I think I've got it, you know, straight on there, best I can anyways. I think I could, I'm going to look and see once I have it on the mount, you know. I may need those spacers. Maybe I could have gone a little shorter, but that's going to work, I think, for now. But that's installed. Now I got to plug everything in, and I'm going to go through calibrating this thing. I'm going to go ahead and install my ASI Air Plus on here. And, you know, I didn't think this all the way through, but I got a lot of weight on this side right here, on the left side. It's, you know, it's not wanting to tip, but it's definitely wants to go that way more than it would to the right. Like the right, it's not, but if I barely push it to the left, it's because I've got, you know, this ASI Air and the EAF on this left side. So I actually am probably going to go back and maybe offset these spacers over to the right just a little bit. I'm going to see if that could help balance it out. You know, I wanted the Losmandy plate because I knew this is going to be a pretty heavy on this little narrow dovetail, but I'm going to weigh this thing once I put my camera on here. I'd like to try it on the GTI, but this may just be too much for the GTI. But I'm going to try to, I'm going to switch these up and offset this, and then I actually may be able to use 2 screws, and I'm going to see if that helps the balance a little bit. I just readjusted these, and I went just to the right of the center hole, so it's, and it's weird looking. But I'm going to try this and see if this helps balance it out a little bit. So as you can see, I've got it just slightly offset to the right, and that actually did help. I could push on it now, and it's not wanting to tip over like it was. It's kind of this side heavy now. It's wanting to tip that way. But once I get the ASI air on here, maybe that'll help balance it out. I'm gonna install this back in. Okay. And yeah, let me just hold this. That's gonna shake the table, but yeah, that's pretty sturdy. It's more balanced that way. Well, if this ends up being too heavy for the GTI, I'll probably just get like a Losmandy plate and just be done with it. But just offsetting that a little bit helped balance it better than it was. Okay, so I got some power running to my ASI air, and I've hooked up the autofocuser to the air, and now we're going to calibrate this thing. So I've got the app up here. I should probably do a screen grab, but the only thing I've got connected is the EAF. I'm going to tap that. We want to go to 0. And this should take it, well, it's taking it out. I'm going to stop. Okay. I had this reverse was turned on, so I'm going to hit move. And the focuser should go in. And that's going to take a few minutes here. Everything seems to be turning. It looks like okay, so it beat, so it's at 0. I'm going to call this 0. Okay, I changed the current position to 0. We'll try 30,000 and just see how far it goes. Okay, and let's hit move. And now it should go out as far as it can, and I'll come back when it's out. Okay, so 30,000 steps didn't get it out, so I'm going to hit, I changed it to go to 60,000, and I'm going to hit move. And we're going to let it come on out. I think it goes out to 5 on here. I don't remember, but we'll just see if it goes all the way out. Okay, so it stops just at like at 5.5. And the max is 37,434. So I'll set my limit to 37,000. We'll just do 400. $37,400. Go to, let's see, current position is 37.4. Want to go to, move this back to 0 and hit move. And this should draw the tube back in all the way. Okay, 0 took it back all the way in. So now I am going to, let's just move it out to about 5,000. Yeah, about 5,000. Okay, so I had to set the current position back to 0, and I'm going to move it out to 5,000. I'm going to try to set the backlash on here. So it's That's at 5,000. Now we want to go out here, and I have it on fast, and I want to watch this, and I'm going to tap the button and see how many times I tap it before it moves. I'm going to tap the up button. So that's moving. And that's moving. Let's do this and see if I can see it move. I'm going to watch it while I tap it. Okay. Two, three, 4, 5, 6. It's moving, even from the very 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So going back the other way, it was 9 steps before the knob turned. Go back in to the EAF, and I could just go ahead and set this for 90, and I'll see how that works. When I first tapped it initially, it moved on the first tap, but going back the other way, it was 9 taps before the little focuser moved. So, okay, that should be good. I have my limit set, I have my backlash set, and it's supposed to be clear tonight. I'm gonna go test this thing out. So, there's the setup of the Askar FRA400. That's right at the GTI payload capacity. That's really gonna be pushing it. 10.8 pounds. So you can see right here, my stars are way out of focus. So I'm gonna just manually hit the focus button. Oh, that's going in. Let me go out. Let's try that. Yep. Let me just turn this light on here. Try about right there. Try another exposure. Better. Getting close now. All right, getting there. Cool.